Okay, let's just dive right into this. Picture this for a second. You order a new phone, maybe some fresh sneakers, or heck, even a brand new sofa. And then, a few days later, boom, it's sitting right there on your doorstep, perfectly intact. But how? I mean, really, how does the world actually get to your door? We kind of just take it for granted, right? We rarely stop to think about the sheer, almost invisible complexity of global trade that literally puts these everyday items right into our hands. So, in today's Explainer, we're unpacking the absolute marvel that is modern logistics. And I don't want you to think of this as some dry, boring shipping manual. No way. Think of it more like a bright, fast paced blockbuster heist movie. Except instead of pulling off a massive robbery, the ultimate mission here is seamlessly moving trillions of dollars of cargo all across the planet, completely under our noses in broad daylight. Welcome to the symphony of global trade inside multimodal logistics. We're going to decode the master plans, uncover the hidden bases, and look at the brilliant execution that actually makes international trade possible. The scale of this whole operation is absolutely breathtaking, and honestly, the way it's orchestrated, it's nothing short of cinematic. So, let's get our mission briefing. Chapter 1: The Mastermind and the Box. All right, let's take a quick look at the timeline of basically the greatest tool ever invented for trade: the shipping container. Now, the concept itself actually goes way back. Look at the 1830s. The Liverpool and Manchester Railway was already using these early roll-on, roll-off containers for coal. By 1839, they're actually transferring these boxes between rail wagons and horse carriages. Then, fast forward a bit to 1921, and the New York Central Railway sets up dedicated container services. But the true mastermind of our modern era, he enters the scene in the 1960s. Enter Malcolm McLean. Now, McLean was a trucking executive who went and bought a shipping company, and his absolute genius was applying this standardized, universal box that could just seamlessly slide from a truck chassis onto a train and then directly into what they call cell guides, these specific vertical slots inside massive ocean vessels without anyone ever needing to unpack the actual stuff inside. I mean, it sounds simple now, but this standardized metal box was literally the catalyst that unlocked the modern world as we know it. Chapter 2: The Master Plan. So the crucial point here is understanding exactly what this overall strategy is. In the industry, it's called multimodal transport, and by definition, this is the door-to-door movement of goods using at least two different modes of transport. So think rail and sea, or maybe road and air. But the real magic here, the secret sauce, it's the phrase single transport operator, or MTO. Going back to our heist movie analogy, the MTO is the mastermind, the guy in the chair. They organize the entire door-to-door operation. They issue one single document, and they take total responsibility for the whole shebang. You, as the buyer or seller, you don't have to go out and hire a trucker and then find a train engineer and then negotiate with a ship captain. No, the MTO steps in and orchestrates that entire symphony for you. And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates exactly why that distinction is so critical. Look at the left side here, intermodal transport. In this setup, multiple different carriers organize the transport. So if something goes wrong, and let's face it, things go wrong, responsibility is segmented. It's just messy, lots of finger pointing. Now look over at the right side, multimodal transport. The MTO has total door-to-door liability. They are the ones contracting the truckers, the trains, the ships, ensuring the continuous flow of goods along the absolute best, most cost-effective route. Having one accountable mastermind pulling the strings is an absolute game changer for international trade. It takes all the stress completely off the merchant. Chapter 3: The Secret Layers. Okay, let's look at the dossier on the actual facilities making this happen, because there are two main types of secret layers here: the Inland Container Depot, or ICD, and the Container Freight Station, the CFS. Functionally, they're both transit facilities that consolidate cargo and deal with customs, but just notice the massive differences in scale here. An ICD is this huge hub located deep inland. We're talking at least 4 hectares of land, easily handling around 6,000 TEUs, which, by the way, stands for 20-foot equivalent units. It's just the standard measure for shipping containers every single year. So an ICD is basically a massive dry port acting as a long-distance cargo hub for trains. Now, a CFS, on the other hand, is a bit smaller, usually about 1 hectare, and it sits right off the dock, super close to the seaport. Its main gig is basically to decongest the port by shifting a lot of the cargo sorting and customs activities just outside that immediate crowded port area. If we were to fly a cinematic drone shot right over one of these hubs, here is the anatomy you'd see. First up, the rail siding.
This is where those massive container trains roll in, getting loaded and unloaded by these towering overhead cranes. Next, you've got the container yard. This is usually the largest area, essentially just this massive canyon of stacked metal boxes, imports, exports, empties, all just waiting for their next mission. Then you have the warehouse. This is your covered space where smaller shipments get consolidated, stuffed into containers, or get pulled apart and inspected by customs officers. And finally, the gate complex. This is the highly regulated checkpoint. Literally no truck enters or leaves without strict security checks and documentation. It is just a beautifully, beautifully organized machine.
129. Let that sink in for a second. That is the number of these massive inland container depots that were operating in India alone as of March 2017. 129 sprawling 4-hectare hubs working around the clock in just one single country. When you start to multiply that out globally, you really begin to grasp the sheer awe-inspiring scale of this logistical network. It's mind-blowing.
Chapter 4. The Execution.
All right, here is how a flawless export operation goes down, step by step. Step 1, stuffing. The exporter takes an empty container right there on their factory floor, packs it full of their product, and seals it shut. Lock it down. Step 2, that laden container gets moved by a truck to the local ICD we were just talking about, where customs inspects it and clears it for export. Step 3, transport. The shipping line smoothly shifts that box onto a train, moving it from the ICD straight to the massive gateway port terminal. And Step 4, the voyage. Huge gantry cranes swoop in, hoist the container onto an ocean vessel. It crosses the sea, hits the destination port, and gets whisked away to the customer. Intact, secure, and get this, never unpacked during the entire transit.
Now, actually getting that box to and from the ocean is absolutely critical. In the biz, this is called inland haulage. It's the movement over land, by rail, road, or sometimes even barge. And the industry breaks this down into two very distinct phases. You've got the first mile, moving the cargo from its origin factory to the departure port, that's known as pre-carriage, and then the last mile, moving it from the destination port to the final customer, that is your on-carriage. But here's the million-dollar question. Who actually runs this inland haulage? Understanding this distinction is incredibly important, mostly because it's all about who takes the risk. On the left side, we have carrier haulage. This is when the shipping line handles that first and last mile. They use their own established tariffs, they coordinate the trucks or the trains, and most importantly, they take on the liability. But on the right, we have merchant haulage. This is when the client decides, you know what, I'll pay a vendor directly to move the box overland. But here's the catch. If you choose merchant haulage, the liability shifts directly back to you, the client. So if something goes sideways on the highway, well, it's your problem, not the shipping lines.
Chapter 5, the payoff. And the result of all of this, it's just pure, quiet success. Think about it. From a distant factory floor, through sprawling rail networks, across open oceans, all guided seamlessly by a single multimodal operator, just so those goods arrive flawlessly at your doorstep. As consumers, we rarely ever see the cranes, or the massive inland container depots, or all those complex liability contracts. We just see the payoff. We get the items we need, exactly when we need them, all made possible by some standardized metal boxes and a highly coordinated, brilliantly executed global strategy. So I want to leave you with this thought today. Just look around the room you're sitting in right now. The screen you're watching this on, the clothes you're wearing, the furniture you're sitting on. What epic, multimodal journey did your possessions take to get to you? Which secret hubs did they pass through? What oceans did they cross? The world is vastly interconnected by this invisible, cinematic symphony of logistics. So the next time a package arrives at your door, maybe take just a second to appreciate the incredible master plan that brought it there. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. I really hope you found it as fascinating as I do.